In this section you will learn the basic techniques and procedures which are common to all RT communications. Since RT is the means by which air crews and ground personnel communicate, it is vital for safety reasons that all information and instructions are transmitted correctly. Standard phraseology and procedures are used worldwide to reduce the possibility of misunderstanding. It is therefore vitally important that you learn and understand these techniques and procedures, and that you get into the habit of using them in the air. Always remember that many incidents and accidents have occurred because of the misunderstanding caused by the use of non-standard procedures or phraseology. The words in the table should be used when individual letters have to be transmitted. Click on a word to hear how it should sound. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, India, Juliet, Kilo, Mike, November, Oscar, Papa, Quebec, Romeo, Sierra, Tango, Uniform, Victor, Whiskey, X-ray, Yankee, Zulu. The words in the table should be used when individual numbers have to be transmitted. Click on a number to hear a recording of how it should sound. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, decimal, 100, 1000. All numbers except whole hundreds, whole thousands, and combinations of thousands and whole hundreds should be transmitted by pronouncing each digit separately. 10, 75, 583, 381, flower tree. Whole hundreds and whole thousands should be transmitted by pronouncing each digit in the number of hundreds or thousands, followed by the word hundred or thousand as appropriate. 100, 1,000, 2 5,000. Combinations of thousands and whole hundreds should be transmitted by pronouncing each digit in the number of thousands followed by the word thousand, and the number of hundreds followed by the word hundred. Click on a number to hear how it is pronounced. 2,500, 5,600, 18,300. Numbers containing a decimal point should be transmitted with the decimal point in appropriate sequence being indicated by the word decimal. 1. A small selection of numbers is shown in the table. Click on a number to hear how it is pronounced, and if you wish, use the recording and play 118 decimal 1. Use 120 decimal 37. When transmitting time, only the minutes of the hour are normally required. However, the hour should be included if there is any possibility of confusion. Pilots may also check the time with any air traffic unit. However, note that time checks shall be given to the nearest half minute. A selection of times is shown in the table. Click on a time to hear how it is pronounced, and, if you wish, use the recording and play 03 or 0803, 1300, 57 or 2057. The correct transmitting technique begins with having your microphone correctly positioned. If you have it too far away from your mouth, the volume of your speech will be reduced, and the microphone will pick up extraneous noise from the cockpit, thus making your voice even more difficult to hear.
Golf Foxtrot Hotel Juliet Mike, request radio check frequency 110.35.
If you have the mic too close to your mouth, it will feel uncomfortable, and there is a danger that your speech may be distorted.
Golf Foxtrot Hotel Juliet Mike, request radio check frequency 110.35.
The correct position is shown here, where you can just touch the mic by pursing your lips. The mic should be positioned in the center of your mouth, and the mic boom should be secure, so that it will not move if you move your head suddenly or you run into any turbulence.
Golf Foxtrot Hotel Juliet Mike, request radio check frequency 110.35.
Having made sure your mic is correctly positioned, there are several rules that you need to follow whenever you are transmitting. Whenever you change frequency, it is vital that you listen out for at least 5 seconds before you transmit. It is very easy to transmit over somebody else, particularly in a busy air traffic environment. In such an environment, it is even more important that your transmission is heard, so you must make sure that nobody else is in the middle of a transmission before you press the transmit button. If you always adhere to the rules, you are less likely to forget them when you are under pressure. By using your normal voice, you are more likely to be understood. Try to imagine that you are writing down what you are saying, and then speak at an appropriate speed. Do not raise your voice, even if you are putting out an emergency message. By speaking too loudly, you are more likely to distort your words. Many RT transmissions contain lots of numbers, and it is vital that the recipient hears the numbers clearly. You must therefore pronounce the numbers correctly. Try to avoid ums and ahs. The easiest way of avoiding these irritating noises is to make sure you know what you are going to say before you press the transmit button. A few seconds thought before you speak is more likely to result in a clear and concise message. An irritating and potentially dangerous situation in radio telephony is a stuck microphone button. Always make sure that you release the button fully after a transmission. If you are using a handheld microphone, make sure it is stored in a position where it cannot be switched on inadvertently. This list contains pronounced acknowledge, meaning, let me know that you have received and understood this message. Use of this word at the end of a message indicates that you are not required to repeat the message, but the controller wishes to ensure that you understand it properly. Therefore, if you understand the message, you should acknowledge it. If you do not understand it, then ask the controller to repeat it. Pronounced affirm, meaning yes. This is a simple response to any question which requires yes as an answer. A common error is to give a long-winded reply when affirm is all that is required. Pronounced approved, meaning permission for proposed action granted. This will normally be used in response to non-standard or unusual requests, for example, a request to taxi from the fuel pumps to the parking area. Pronounced break, meaning indicates the separation between messages. This is most commonly used in busy air traffic environments where controllers will speak to 2 or more aircraft in succession without releasing their transmit button. You need to be alert to hear your call sign in these conditions because of the wide variety of messages being passed to other aircraft. Pronounced cancel, meaning annul the previously transmitted clearance. This word will be used to cancel any clearance from a taxi clearance to a full airways clearance. Pronounced changing to, meaning I intend to call a specific unit on a specific frequency. When making this call, you should give the name of the air traffic unit as well as the frequency to which you intend to change. Pronounced check, meaning examine a system or procedure. No answer is normally expected. Although a reply is not normally expected, this should not deter you from making a reply if you feel this would be appropriate. Pronounced cleared, meaning authorized to proceed under the conditions specified. It is obviously important that you understand the specified conditions. If you do not, then you should ask the controller to repeat them. Pronounced climb, meaning climb and maintain. Note that having instructed you to climb to a particular altitude or flight level, the controller will expect you to maintain it until you request a change or you are instructed to change. Pronounced confirm, meaning have I correctly received the following message, or did you correctly receive this message? An example of a situation where you might use this word is where you have received a clearance and you wish to confirm part of the information before you repeat it back in full. Pronounced contact, meaning establish radio contact with. You would normally be given both the name of the air traffic unit to be called as well as the frequency. Pronounced correct, meaning that is correct. In other words, the information you have passed is correct, not to be confused with affirm. Pronounced correction, meaning an error has been made in this transmission. The correct version is. An example of the use of this word may be Golf Delta Alpha change to 126.5, correction 125.6. Pronounced descend, meaning descend and maintain. The same assumptions apply to this word as to climb. Pronounced disregard, meaning consider that that transmission is not sent. The normal response to an RT call telling you to disregard the previous message would normally be Roger. Pronounced free call, meaning call a specified unit, meaning that your details have not been passed and is mainly used by military units in the UK. When you call the new unit, you must be prepared to pass your flight details. Pronounced go ahead, meaning proceed with your message. You are likely to encounter this expression after you have made an initial call to an air traffic unit and the controller has asked you to stand by because he is busy. When he is ready to hear your message, he will then ask you to go ahead. Pronounced how do you read, meaning what is the readability of my transmission? For further information on this expression, go to the Test Procedures lesson in the General Operating Procedures section. Pronounced I say again, meaning I repeat for clarity or emphasis. This expression is most commonly used by controllers to emphasize a message. Pronounced monitor, meaning listen out on a specific frequency. If you are asked by air traffic to monitor a frequency, it means that you should listen out on that frequency. It does not mean that the controller wants you to transmit on that frequency. Pronounced negative, meaning no, or permission not granted, or that is not correct. Notice that whereas the word affirm can only mean yes, negative has three distinct meanings which depend on the content of the message being responded to. Pronounced out, meaning this exchange of transmissions is ended and no response is expected. Note that this word is not normally used in VHF transmissions. Pronounced over, meaning my transmission is ended and I expect a response from you. Note this word is not normally used in VHF transmissions. Pronounced pass your message, meaning proceed with your message. This expression is interchangeable with go ahead. Pronounced read back, meaning repeat all the specified part of this message back to me exactly as received. This expression will be used when a controller wants positive confirmation that you have received the message correctly. Pronounced report, meaning pass requested information. A typical example of the use of this word would be where you are receiving a flight information service on a VFR cross-country flight and the controller asks you to report at your next turning point. Pronounced request, meaning I should like to know, or I wish to obtain. This word is very common in RT transmissions. For example, you will frequently request airfield weather or request the QNH. Pronounced Roger, meaning I have received all your last transmission. Note that under no circumstances is this to be used in reply to a question requiring readback or a direct answer in the affirmative, affirm, or negative, negative. Pronounced say again, meaning repeat all or the following part of your last transmission. More information on this expression can be found in the lesson on continuation of communications in the General Operating Procedures section. Pronounced speak slower, meaning reduce your rate of speech. If you follow the advice in the lesson on transmitting technique, you should never be asked to speak slower. Pronounced standby, meaning wait and I will call you. This is a widely misunderstood word in RT terminology. When you make a call to a controller and he replies by telling you to stand by, he does not expect a reply. It means that he is too busy to respond to your initial call and will call you as soon as he can. Pronounced verify, meaning check and confirm with the originator. This word may be used when a controller or a pilot wishes to be sure that the information in a message is correct. It is used in much the same way as confirm. Pronounced wilco, meaning I understand your message and will comply with it. In general, this word is not used enough and is frequently confused with Roger. When you respond to a message with wilco, you are telling the controller that you not only understand what you have just been told, but that you will carry out any instructions which you may have been given. Roger, on the other hand, merely means that you have received all the transmission and does not commit you to any particular course of action. Pronounced words twice, meaning, as a request, communication is difficult, please send every word twice. Or, as information, since the communication is difficult, every word in this message will be sent twice. These expressions are rarely used except in conditions of poor radio reception. Aeronautical stations are identified by the name of the station followed by a suffix that indicates the type of service being provided. In most cases, the service being provided is obvious from the suffix, but this is not always the case. You should therefore be familiar with all the suffixes and their meanings. The suffixes given in this lesson are from the ICAO Manual of Radiotelephony. However, there may be some minor differences among JAA nations. Students are therefore advised to consult their national RT manuals to ensure they are aware of any differences. The screen shows the complete list of suffixes. The initial call to a station should include the name. For example, if you wish to contact Aerodrome Control at Stansted Airport, you would call Stansted Tower. However, once you have established satisfactory two-way communications with Stansted Tower, and you are satisfied it will not be confusing, you may omit either the station name or the suffix in subsequent calls. Click on a suffix to hear an example. Paris Control, Hamburg Radar, Birmingham Approach, Frankfurt Arrival, Brussels Departure, Zurich Tower, Hanover Ground, Istanbul Delivery, Bucharest Precision, Swansea Homer, Sonderstrom Information, Rostov Apron, Oxbow Dispatch, Sligo Radio. There are three types of aircraft call sign. In the first type, the call sign is the registration marking of the aircraft. The name of the aircraft type or model may sometimes be used as a prefix. In the second, the call sign is made up from the telephony designator of the aircraft operating company, followed by the last four characters of the registration marking of the aircraft. The third type consists of the telephony designator of the aircraft operating company, followed by the flight identification. Click on a call sign to hear how it sounds. Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta, or Cessna Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta. Oxbow Delta Charlie Bravo Alpha. Oxbow 2 Fower 6. When establishing communication, an aircraft must use the full call sign of both stations. After satisfactory communication has been established, and provided no confusion is likely to occur, these call signs may then be abbreviated. Click on each call sign to display its abbreviation. Golf Charlie Delta, or Cessna Golf Charlie Delta. Oxbow Bravo Alpha. There is no abbreviated form of this type of call sign. Note that these may only be used after the ground station has used the abbreviated form of the call sign. In other words, the aircraft cannot initiate the use of the abbreviated call sign. Click on the Continue button to hear an example of how this works.
Walden Tower, Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta.
Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta, Walden Tower.
Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta, request joining instructions.
Golf Charlie Delta, join runway 20 left, QNH 1003, call when downwind.
Runway 20, QNH 1003, Wilco, Golf Charlie Delta.
An aircraft must not change its call sign type during a flight. However, where there is a likelihood that confusion may occur because of the similar call signs, an aircraft may be instructed by air traffic control to change the type of its call sign temporarily.
Golf Charlie Delta, Walden Tower. Walden Tower, Golf Charlie Delta, go ahead. Golf Charlie Delta, use full call sign. Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta, aircraft with similar call sign and frequency. Wilco, Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta.
Aircraft in the heavy wake turbulence category should include the word heavy immediately after the aircraft call sign in the initial call to an air traffic control unit. This acts as a warning to other aircraft to maintain a safe distance from the heavy aircraft. When a ground station wishes to broadcast information, the message should be prefaced by the call "All stations."
All stations, Georgetown Control, Gateway VOR on test.
Also, when an aircraft wishes to broadcast information to other aircraft in the vicinity, the message should be prefaced by the call "All stations."
All stations, Golf Charlie Delta Alpha Bravo, westbound, Marlow VOR to Stephenville, leaving flight level 260 now, descending to flight level 150.
No reply is expected to such general calls unless individual stations are subsequently called upon to acknowledge receipt. If there is doubt that a message has been correctly received, a repetition of the message shall be requested either in full or in part. Click on each phrase to hear an example transmission.
Fast Air 345, Gateway 25, flight level 170, North Cross 29. Fast Air 345, Georgetown Control, say again. Gateway 25, flight level 170, North Cross 29. Fast Air 345. Fast Air 345, Gateway 25, flight level 170, North Cross 29. Fast Air 345, Georgetown Control. Say again, time at North Cross. North Cross 29, Fast Air 345. Fast Air 345, Gateway 25, flight level 170, North Cross 29. Fast Air 345, Georgetown Control. Say again, all before North Cross. Gateway 25, flight level 170, Fast Air 345. Fast Air 345, Gateway 25, flight level 170, North Cross 29. Fast Air 345, Georgetown Control. Say again, all after 25. Flight level 170, North Cross 29, Fast Air 345. Fast Air 345, Gateway 25, flight level 170, North Cross 29. Fast Air 345, Georgetown Control. Say again, between Gateway and 29er. 25, flight level 170, North Cross, Fast Air 345.
When a station is called but is uncertain of the identification of the calling station, the calling station should be requested to repeat its call sign until identification is established.
Georgetown Ground, Fast Air 345. Station calling Georgetown Ground. Say again your call sign. Georgetown Ground, Fast Air 345.
When an error is made in a transmission, the word correction should be spoken, the last correct group or phrase repeated, and then the correct version transmitted.
Fast Air 345, Wicken 47, flight level 150, Marlow 07, correction, Marlow 57. Fast Air 345, Roger.
If a correction can best be made by repeating the entire message, the operator shall use the phrase, "Correction, I say again," before transmitting the message a second time. When it is considered that reception may be difficult, important elements of the message should be spoken twice. An aircraft will normally be advised by the appropriate air traffic control unit to change from one radio frequency to another in accordance with agreed procedures.
Golf India Kilo. Contact Walden Control 129.1.
Walden Control 129.1, Golf India Kilo.
In the absence of such advice, the aircraft should notify the air traffic control unit before such a change takes place. Aircraft flying in controlled airspace must obtain permission from the controlling authority before changing frequency.
Georgetown approach, Oxbow 345, changing to Walden Control 129.1.
Oxbow 345, Roger, 129.1.
Georgetown approach, Oxbow 345, request frequency change to Walden Control 129.1.
Oxbow 345, frequency change to 129.1 approved.
Roger, Oxbow 345.
An aircraft may be instructed to stand by on a frequency when it is intended that the air traffic unit will initiate further communications, and to monitor a frequency on which information is being broadcast.
Golf India Kilo. Stand by for Walden weather.
Golf India Kilo.
Golf India Kilo. Monitor ATIS 1.
Test transmissions should take the following form: the identification of the aeronautical station being called, the aircraft call sign, the words radio check, the frequency being used. Replies to test transmissions should be as follows: the identification of the station calling, the identification of the station replying, information regarding the readability of the transmission. The readability of transmissions should be classified in accordance with the readability scale shown here.
Stephenville, radio check 187.
Station calling Stephenville Tower, you are unreadable.
Stephenville Tower, Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta, radio check 118.7.
Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta, Tower, read you tree, loud background whistle.
Stephenville Tower, Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta, radio check 118.7.
Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta, Tower, read you 5.
When it is necessary for a ground station to make test signals, either for the adjustment of a transmitter before making a call, or for the adjustment of a receiver, such signals should not continue for more than 10 seconds, and will be composed of spoken numbers, 1, 2, 3, etc., followed by the radio call sign of the station transmitting the test signals. The categories of messages handled by the Aeronautical Mobile Service are listed here. The list shows the order of priority in the establishment of communications and the transmission of messages. Distress and urgency messages are dealt with in more detail in the lesson on distress and urgency procedures. Click on each message to show an explanation of its meaning. Provisions governing clearances are contained in ICAO document 4444. A clearance may vary in content from a detailed description of the route and levels to be flown to a brief landing clearance. Controllers should pass a clearance slowly and clearly, as the pilot may need to write it down. Whenever possible, a route clearance should be passed to an aircraft before startup. In any case, controllers should avoid passing a clearance to a pilot engaged in complicated taxiing maneuvers, and on no occasion should a clearance be passed when the pilot is engaged in line-up or take-off maneuvers.
Oxbow 345 cleared to Kennington via Alpha 1, flight level 120. Wicken Tree Delta departure, squawk 5501.
Cleared to Kennington via Alpha 1, flight level 120, Wicken 3 Delta departure, squawk 5501. Oxbow 345.
An air traffic clearance is not an instruction to take off or to enter an active runway. The words take off are only used when an aircraft is cleared for takeoff or when cancelling a takeoff clearance. At other times, the words departure or airborne are used.
Golf Charlie Delta. When airborne, turn right. Leave control zone via route Echo.
Right turn via route Echo. Golf Charlie Delta.
Readback requirements have been introduced in the interests of flight safety. The stringency of the readback requirement is directly related to the possible seriousness of misunderstanding the transmission and receipt of air traffic clearances and instructions. Strict adherence to readback procedures ensures not only that the clearance has been received correctly, but also that the clearance has been transmitted as intended. It also serves as a check that the correct aircraft, and only that aircraft, will take action on the clearance.
Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta. Cross Alpha 1 at Wicken. Flight level 70.
Cross Alpha 1 at Wicken, flight level 70, Golf Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta.
Clearances to enter, land, take off, cross or backtrack on the runway in use must be read back. Air traffic route clearances must also always be read back unless otherwise authorized by the appropriate air traffic authority, in which case they shall be acknowledged in a positive manner.
Golf Echo Golf India Kilo. Contact tower 118.05.
118.05. Golf Echo Golf India Kilo. Golf Echo Golf India Kilo, ready for departure.
Golf India Kilo, hold position.
Hold position, Golf India Kilo.
The runway in use, heading and speed instructions, level instructions, altimeter settings, and SSR codes must also always be read back.
Golf Juliet Mike, squawk 6402.
6402, Golf Juliet Mike.
Other clearances and instructions, including conditional clearances, should be read back or acknowledged in a manner which clearly indicates that they have been understood and accepted. An aircraft should terminate the readback by its call sign. If an aircraft readback of a clearance or instruction is incorrect, the controller should transmit the word negative followed by the correct version.
Golf Charlie Delta, QNH 1003.
QNH 1013, Golf Charlie Delta.
Negative, QNH 1003.
QNH 1003, Golf Charlie Delta.
If there is doubt as to whether a pilot can comply with an air traffic clearance or instruction, the controller may follow the clearance or instruction by the phrase, "If not possible, advise," or subsequently offer an alternative. If at any time a pilot receives a clearance or instruction which cannot be complied with, the pilot should advise the controller using the phrase "unable to comply" and give the reason.
Oxbow 348, Georgetown. Cleared to Collington, flight level 290. Cross Wicken, flight level 150 or above.
Georgetown, Oxbow 348, unable to comply. Cannot cross Wicken, flight level 150, due wait.